I never thought I'd be the guy on here, but honestly, this whole thing hit me like a freight train and I need to get it out somewhere. So here goes. My name's Jake and I was married to Emily for about 3 years before everything blew up. We had a pretty normal life, lots of laughs, good times, and I genuinely believed we were happy. I was in the military, deployed overseas for almost a year, and Emily was back home. During that time, I trusted her completely. She was always the kind of girl who acted like she was better than everyone else, always bitching about how easy she had it, and she loved to throw around that she was too good for certain things. But I never thought she'd cheat on me. When I left, she was cold but said she'd be waiting for me when I got back. That's what I clung to, the idea that she was faithful, loyal. But little signs started to show up early on, things I pushed aside. Her phone kept ringing late at night, and she'd brush it off like it was nothing, even though I could see her texting someone. She'd get defensive when I asked about it, saying I was just paranoid or insecure. I didn't want to believe it, but I started noticing her hiding her phone more, deleting messages, acting weird whenever I got close to her phone. That's when I should have known something was up. Still, I told myself I was overthinking it. Then a few weeks before I was due to come home, I got suspicious. She started acting more bitchy, snapping at me over small things like I was bothering her just by existing. She told me she was stressed because of work, told me to stop being so paranoid, that I was making her life worse. But the worst sign was when I noticed her phone was constantly on silent, and she'd always turn it off or hide it when I walked into the room. I brushed it off as her being private, but deep down I felt something was wrong. Still, I didn't want to believe she'd cheat. I loved her. The day I finally got back was supposed to be the best day, but it was. I was excited, ready to see her, tell her I missed her, start our new life. Together, I thought about how she'd greet me, maybe cry a little, be happy. But when I unlocked her phone to surprise her, everything changed. I wasn't even looking for anything in particular. I just wanted to see her texts or maybe a funny meme or two. Instead, I saw something that turned my stomach. There were messages, explicit texts between her and Alex, my best friend. I mean, they weren't just friendly exchanges. They were heated, intimate, and downright disgusting. I saw pictures too, pictures of her in bed, fucking him, of her touching herself, all with him. My brain refused to process it at first. I stared at the screen, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. My best friend Alex, the guy I trusted more than anyone, cheating on me with my wife. I couldn't believe it. How long had this been going on? Months? Longer? I don't even know. All I could think about was how they had lied to me for so long. How Emily, the girl I thought I knew, was just a manipulative bitch who played her games behind my back. And Alex, my so-called best friend, betraying me like that. It's like I lost everything in that moment. All the trust, all the love just evaporated. I felt numb, furious, and broken all at once. I didn't even know what I was supposed to do next. After I saw what I saw, everything felt like it was spinning. I couldn't believe it. My wife, Emily, in bed with my best friend Alex. The images burned into my mind, and I felt this wave of anger and betrayal crash over me. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there staring at her messages and photos, replaying everything in my head. It was like my entire world had shattered in an instant. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was undeniable. The next morning, I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't just sweep this under the rug, not after what I found. I waited until she got home from work, trying to keep my composure. When she finally walked in the door, I was already by the door, phone clutched tightly in my hand. She looked surprised, maybe even a little guilty. Her eyes darted around as if she knew exactly what was coming. I didn't give her a chance to talk. I showed her the photos, the messages, and everything I had seen. I just let it all out, no holding back. Her reaction was interesting. She looked at me like I was crazy at first, laughed a little, and then started lying. She told me it was all a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that Alex was just a friend who was trying to help her through some stuff, and that I was overreacting. She threw her hands up, calling me paranoid and insecure, saying I was imagining things. She insisted they were just harmless conversations, that I was blowing it out of proportion, but I wasn't buying it. How could she be so dismissive? How could she lie so easily? I could see the truth behind her eyes, though. She was trying to cover her ass, but she knew I saw everything. That's when I felt the cold rage build up inside me. I had trusted her more than anyone, and she's out there sneaking around, fucking my best friend, and then she dares to lie to my face. I wanted to break something, to scream, to do something that would make her feel the pain I was feeling. But I stayed quiet because I knew I needed to think more clearly, because I wasn't about to let her brush this off that easily. Her excuses didn't add up. She claimed it was just sex, that she was drunk one night and it meant nothing. She kept saying she never loved Alex, that it was a mistake, just a moment of weakness. But I know that kind of mistake doesn't just happen overnight, and especially not with someone you supposedly trust. I looked at her and thought, how many lies have you told me over the years? How much of this is just your way of covering your own ass? I felt betrayed, humiliated, and honestly, I was hurt more than I could even put into words. Part of me wanted to believe her, to forgive her and move on. But I knew deep down I couldn't do that. Not after seeing her in bed with Alex, not after reading her messages where she said she loved him, that she wanted to see him again. That moment, that confrontation, it changed everything. I realized I wasn't just dealing with a cheating wife. I was dealing with someone who had been lying to me for months, maybe longer, and I was just too blind to see it. The trust I had left was gone, and that's when I knew I had to figure out what I was going to do next. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing, trying to process everything I'd just learned. The pain was a deep, gnawing ache that didn't go away. I kept thinking about all the moments I thought we shared, her smile, her laughter, the way she used to look at me like I was the only guy in the world. Now I saw her for what she really was, a liar, a cheat, a manipulator. I felt so stupid for trusting her, so naive for thinking she was different from all the other women who'd played games and broken hearts. The betrayal ran so deep I didn't know if I could ever forgive her, or if I even wanted to. Honestly, part of me just wanted to tear everything apart, to make her feel the same pain she'd caused me. I started planning my revenge, but not in some reckless way. I knew I had to be smart about it. I wanted her to know that I wasn't just some guy she could cheat on and brush aside. I wanted her to feel the consequences of her actions without it turning into a disaster that would ruin everything I had left. In the days that followed, I played it cool on the surface. I kept my distance, didn't yell or scream, but inside I was plotting. I started digging into her phone again, looking for any other signs of cheating or lies. I found messages from her friends, from Alex's girlfriend, even some from coworkers. Nothing as explicit as what I'd already seen, but enough to show that she was still hiding things, still lying. I also noticed how she started acting even more bitchy, probably because she knew I wasn't buying her bullshit anymore. She'd throw attitude, snap at me over stupid stuff like I was the problem. But I knew her game now. She was trying to push me away, make me doubt myself, make me feel guilty for catching her at her worst. That's when I decided I needed a plan that would make her regret ever crossing me. I didn't want to just leave and walk away empty-handed. I wanted her to see what she threw away, what she lost when she decided to lie and cheat and betray everything we had. I started by gathering more evidence, just in case I needed it. I wanted her to know I wasn't bluffing. I also reached out to a lawyer, just in case I needed to get legal advice. I wasn't planning to be the guy who just takes it and walks away. I deserved better, and I was going to make sure she understood that. Meanwhile, her attitude only got worse. She became more confrontational, more aggressive in trying to pin the blame on me for overreacting. She told me I was crazy, that I was insecure, that I was ruining everything because I couldn't handle the truth. But the truth was right there in front of me, plain as day. I just hadn't wanted to see it until now. Now that I finally knew, I felt lighter but also more determined. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. I needed to think about my next move, how to confront her in a way that would make her see she couldn't keep lying and cheating without paying the price. I stayed quiet, biding my time, watching her every move, waiting for the right moment to turn the tables. I knew I had her cornered. The question was just how I was going to deliver the final blow. I didn't want some messy fight, but I wanted her to understand that her actions had consequences. I was done being the guy who got played. This was war, and I was ready to fight. The day I decided to finally act, I could feel my heart pounding like I'd run a marathon. Everything was finally falling into place. I'd collected enough evidence to make her realize that I wasn't some naive fool who'd believe her lies anymore. I hadn't told her I knew everything. I kept pretending I was still clueless, waiting for her to slip up again. That's when I planned my move. I wanted her to feel the weight of her betrayal, to see what she'd lost because she thought she could play with my trust and get away with it. I waited until she was out of the house. She said she was meeting some friends for drinks. That was the perfect cover. I had her phone locked in my drawer, just in case she decided to check it or try to hide anything. I knew she was probably still lying, still scheming, but I had enough of her bullshit. I wanted her to know I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. I dug into her social media accounts, her messages, her emails, everything I could find. I wanted to make damn sure she knew I had all the cards now. While she was gone, I sent Alex a message, just a simple text, nothing incriminating, just enough to make sure he knew I was onto him. I told him I knew everything, the pictures, the texts, the whole damn thing. I didn't want to ruin him, not yet, but I wanted him to understand that I wasn't blind anymore. I also made a few copies of the explicit photos and saved them securely. I wasn't planning to do anything reckless now, but I wanted to be ready. I was tired of being the patsy. She thought she could get away with her lies forever, but I was done playing nice. When Emily got home that night, I could see the slight panic in her eyes. She knew I was up to something. I didn't even bother to hide my anger anymore. I confronted her directly, told her I knew everything. Her face turned pale and she started lying again, saying I was crazy, accusing me of spying on her, saying I was just insecure and jealous. But I just looked at her and said, "You've been lying for months, Emily. I've seen your texts, your photos, everything. You've been sleeping with Alex. Don't bother denying it anymore." Her reaction was priceless. She stammered, then snapped at me, trying to turn it around, calling me crazy, claiming I was overreacting, that I was ruining everything for no reason. But I didn't care about her excuses. I knew the truth now, and I wanted her to feel the full weight of it. I told her I was done pretending, done trusting her, done being naive. I told her I was leaving, that I didn't want to be with someone who'd betray me like this. She screamed, called me names, said I was a jealous, insecure loser who couldn't handle the fact that she was free now. But I shut her down. I told her I was going to take everything. She could keep lying and pretending, but I had the evidence. I even gave her a copy of the photos I'd saved. That was her wake-up call. She looked panicked, furious, like she thought she could manipulate her way out of it, but it was too late. The damage was done. I had completely turned the tables, and she knew it. That night, I packed a bag and left. I didn't want to stay under the same roof with someone so deceitful. I felt numb, relieved, and angry all at once. She kept calling, begging me to stay, crying, saying she loved me, that it was all a mistake, but I wasn't buying it. You don't cheat on your husband with your best friend and then come crying when everything's exposed. That's not love, that's betrayal. And I knew I'd never be able to trust her again. I had to walk away, even if it hurt like hell. I realized that sometimes the only way to truly get justice is to walk away and rebuild from the ashes. After I left that night, everything changed. I didn't go far, just to a friend's place for a few days, trying to sort through what had just happened. The silence in my apartment was deafening, and every time I thought about Emily and Alex, a boiling rage took over. I kept replaying the betrayal, the lies, her bitchy attitude when confronted, and the way she thought she could manipulate her way out of it. Honestly, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut so many times I wasn't sure how I was still standing. But as the days passed, something strange started to happen. The initial shock gave way to clarity. I started to realize that my feelings of hurt and betrayal were just part of the process. I wasn't going to let her ruin me. I'd been a fool for so long, trusting her blindly, but now I saw her for what she really was, a selfish, manipulative woman who thought she could get away with anything. I'd been too trusting, too hopeful, and that almost cost me everything. The process of healing wasn't easy. Every time I saw her name pop up on my phone, my stomach twisted, but I refused to answer. I knew she was trying to reach out, probably begging me to come back, promising she'd change, that she loved me, that it was all just a mistake. But I didn't believe her, not anymore. I realized the only way forward was to cut her loose completely, to stop giving her the power to hurt me anymore. That took a lot of effort, especially when parts of me still wanted to believe she could be different, that maybe I was overreacting. Eventually, I decided to get a lawyer. I needed to protect myself legally, especially since she might try to come back and spin some story or threaten to take everything I had. I also knew that I had to start rebuilding my life, focused on myself, on my career, on figuring out who I really was without her holding me back. It was humiliating, yes, but I was determined not to let this define me. I also reached out to a few friends who knew about the situation, and their support was a huge help. I realized I wasn't alone in feeling like this. So many people have been betrayed, hurt, and left to pick up the pieces. Some days were worse than others. I'd wake up angry, then sad, then pissed again. The emotional roller coaster was relentless, but I kept telling myself that I deserved better, more respect, more honesty, someone who wouldn't lie or cheat behind my back. This experience taught me that I need to trust my gut more, to see the warning signs before they blow up in my face. I also learned that some people are just not worth the pain. Emily was one of those people. I had to accept that I wasn't the problem, she was. Now I'm still healing, still trying to move on. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I won't let this ruin me. I'll find someone who actually values me, who respects me enough not to cheat and lie. And I've learned that sometimes the best revenge is just walking away and never looking back. Trust me, it hurts like hell, but eventually it gets better. You just have to be willing to face the pain, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Looking back now, I realize that this whole ordeal was a brutal lesson in trust and betrayal. I thought I knew Emily, thought I knew her better than anyone, but she was a different person behind closed doors. The girl I married turned out to be someone I barely recognized, selfish, manipulative, and willing to throw everything away for a quick thrill. I learned that people aren't always what they seem, and sometimes you have to go through hell to see the truth clearly. I won't lie, it's been one of the roughest experiences of my life. The heartbreak, the anger, the sense of betrayal, it's all still there, lurking beneath the surface. But I also see it as a turning point. I've become stronger because of it. I've rediscovered a part of myself I lost somewhere along the way, my boundaries, my self-respect, my ability to walk away when someone doesn't deserve me. What I want anyone reading this to understand is that you can get through something like this, no matter how bad it feels at the moment. It's okay to feel broken. It's okay to cry, to be angry, to feel like you'll never trust again. But don't let it define you. Use it as fuel to rebuild your life piece by piece. Trust is a fragile thing, and when it's broken, you have to decide whether to repair it or walk away. I chose to walk away. I've started focusing on myself now, on my goals, on finding someone who will treat me with honesty and respect. And to anyone going through a similar situation, know that you're not alone. There are people out here who understand what you're feeling, who have been betrayed and come out on the other side. The pain fades, but the lessons stay with you. I've learned that sometimes the hardest thing you can do is to let go of someone who doesn't deserve your love or trust. It hurts. It really does. But in the end, it's the only way to truly move forward. I'm not perfect and I still have bad days. But I'm rebuilding my life, and for the first time in a long while, I feel like I'm in control again. That's what matters. No matter how much it hurts, you'll get through it. You just have to be willing to face the truth, no matter how ugly it is. And remember, you deserve honesty, loyalty, and real love. Don't settle for less.